My apologies. Instagram is acting weird. I'm not allowed to play the intro for some reason. So I'm gonna go ahead and get Coach Sack back in here. Let me add him back. Let me see. Coach,
What's up, man?
how you doing, Coach?
I'm great, man. Great. Thanks for
Man,
having
thanks for taking time out to come on here. It's been a while,
me.
and
Right?
when I hit you up, you was like, "Whatever you need, I got you." So I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Man, how's the family? How's everything going?
Family's good, man. We're in chaos right now. I'm doing some renovations on my house, so I'm living in my brother's house.
Oh wow.
So
I,
we're rolling nine deep in here right now.
the
So
Instagram.
I'm like the upstairs door locked, making sure that none of these crazy come up here and interrupt. So
Oh man, you guys' Instagram is hilarious. I've been watching the videos and I just be dying laughing. So that you guys got a good thing going with that one.
yeah, it's chaos, man. It's chaos.
Man, for those who don't know, like I said in my last video, this is probably one of my favorite coaches that I played for. One of the toughest coaches I played for. If you know, you know, So this is Coach Sack, everybody. Oak Park native. Did a little research on you, Coach. You were all conference in three sports.
Oh,
That's
well, you
pretty
did do some research, huh?
that's pretty impressive. So football, baseball, basketball, everything. So kind of
Yeah.
start off, Coach. How was your upbringing for you?
Truthfully, it was easy. I didn't have many trials and tribulations as a kid growing up. I had two great parents. I had older siblings. I was the youngest of four, and I had an older brother that looked out for me. I had an older sister that looked out for me. I had another older brother. They were in the high school at the same time. He was coaching me. So my dad was at every single game I ever had.
Mm.
Um, so my upbringing, that was a cakewalk. It was easy. They made it easy. So I have nothing complaining, nothing but thanks for them for that.
Now, how did you get involved in sports? Were you just a kid playing everything and you kind of grew a passion for those sports that you played?
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, like in Oak Park, growing up, you play baseball. Like that's just like you come out of the womb and you're gonna play baseball. My brothers played it. My sister played softball. My dad was a t-ball coach for like 40 years.
Mm.
So like baseball was like all I knew until about fifth, sixth grade. I started, messing with basketball. And then middle school. I played 1 year of tackle football, and my mom wouldn't let me play. So my friend's dad signed me up and was like, "Hey, I'm taking you to practice." And I'm like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're going." And I'm like,
Wow.
"What?" Back then, they didn't have rules and stuff, you
Hmm.
know. So that's how I got involved in football. And then, those three were just those were really all I played. I didn't play
Yeah.
much else.
So when was that moment for you when you realized like, okay, these are my three favorite. This is what I'm going to do with my life. When was that
Yeah.
moment for you? Was it a great game that you had? Was it somebody that motivated you? Like maybe you should try this out.
Yeah, I mean, the second I played football, I loved it. I played flag football growing up, but that's flag football, and then you start playing real football. And as soon as I played it, I loved it. Baseball, I grew out of. Definitely grew not to love it as much. Tried to stop playing, and my brother started coaching and kind of convinced me to play. And basketball is just fun. I mean,
Yeah.
there was no particular time. I remember I played on an eighth grade basketball team at Emerson, which is now Brooks, and we were phenomenal. I was like the third string point guard. I barely saw the floor. I was terrible. It was ridiculous. We were like 29-1 or something. So I didn't I loved it. I loved the game. I didn't play. I wasn't like the best player, not even close.
Mm.
I was one of the worst. So I just loved the game.
Yeah.
Um, But I love football and I still love it.
Yeah. Now, when you were coming up, coach, who were like some of your favorite athletes that you kind of watched and kind of had caught your eye and gave you more passion for the game?
Yeah. Well, my dad was a boxer, so we watched boxing frequently. I love Mike Tyson. I loved everything about watching him, how he carried himself as a boxer. Obviously, as a human, he struggled, a little bit early
Yeah.
on. But and then I was a big Ken Griffey Jr. fan, early on. And then as I grew up, more, I love Ray Lewis. I love watching Ray Lewis do everything. Just his energy and his ability to play the game. I loved it.
Yeah.
Um, and then, you're from Chicago. You always watch Michael Jordan. I mean, he's
Yeah.
great. So,
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. For you, coach, do you have like a favorite memory of your career?
Like playing career?
Playing career, yeah.
Yeah, I was lucky enough. In high school, I won very few football games. Very, very few. And then when I got to college, I went to a Division III school, Wisconsin Whitewater, and we were very successful. So I played in two national championships there. In the first year, we played a great game against a great Mount Union team from Ohio. It was our first year that we got there. We were on ESPN. Like, it was awesome. We lost, but like I say, say it all the time. It was the greatest game I ever lost. Like, it was just the whole week leading up to it. It was like there's no one event, but it was awesome.
Yeah. I think I read you guys like played them like back to back years or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
my junior year and senior year, we played them back to back and lost, and they were like, they were the Alabama. They're the Alabama Division III. Like they were there every year, and then we had finally got there. And then the year after I left, they actually beat them. Um, so like all those guys on the team I played with, and it was great. And they're always like, "Oh, you helped get us there," and da, da, da. I'm like, "Yeah, I don't have a ring though, so I can care less." I would have loved to have been on the team that beat them, but whatever. It's
Yeah.
making me feel a little bit better.
Definitely. Okay.
Yeah.
For you, coach, do you have anything that you kind of had to go through, like a trial, like a tribulation that you had to go through that kind of set you back, that you had to learn from, that kind of made you the man you are now?
Yeah. For sure. I mean, everyone goes through like ups and downs and all that stuff. Like I said, my life was easy. I have a unbelievable family support. My wife's out of control, amazing. I have developed later in life. I have anxiety.
Mm,
So just kind of dealing with that, the ups and downs, trying to work through that with coaching and recognizing it, accepting it, realizing that it's okay to have it, all that stuff with stigmas behind mental health that you grow up as a man and you think that you should live this certain way and you should be this certain way and that if you have it, you're not tough or whatever. And I have close friends that I've talked to on Marco Polo all the time. I have my wife, my brother, who also has it. Like, just a support system in place for that. I mean, that would be the only thing that I have that, like, takes me
yeah.
through ups and downs. I have not. My life. My life is easy. I have a great life and a great team and support system around me.
Okay. Okay. For you, I know you kind of spoke on it. After you played sports and you kind of, okay, I'm kind of retired from sports. What made you want to become a coach? Because I know that can become a headache,
Sure.
dealing with different personalities and
Yeah.
parents and a lot of your
Oh, God.
time and stress. So what made you want to become a coach?
Yeah. My brother coached varsity basketball at Oak Park for like 25 years under Al Allen. Seeing how much he loved it was great. I mean, it was, refreshing. Although he's a psychopath when he coaches, he does love it. So seeing that was great. And then, I started coaching. I finished school and then I started coaching in '08 at Oak Park football for Jim Nudera. Bob Organ was the guy who kind of got me into it. And like I just loved it. I loved it right away. I loved the detail of it. I loved the I thought I knew everything, and then that kind of was humbling. Like I came in and like I didn't know much, in terms of coaching. Like I knew the game, but then being able to transfer it to teaching it to kids so that they can succeed and they can do well and they could learn from it. Like that whole aspect of it was awesome, and I fell in love with it right away.
Yeah. For you, do you have any crazy like stories that may have happened with a player at a game? Anything that was just mind blowing to you? You was like, oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you always have negatives, right? Or
Hmm.
some kid went off on you, or you went off on some ref or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's a story. I coached a kid. He won't care if I say his name either. Dallas Flowers. Who he's a hell of a he's a freak athlete, hell of a basketball player. If I were an NFL team, I'd draft him this year coming
Definitely.
up. Like he is. Whew, I coached him in sophomore basketball, and when I say he's one of the greatest sophomore basketball players I've ever coached, I would not be exaggerating. And I can't remember, he had to miss a game. Knowing him, he probably did something stupid. He's a grown up now, so he doesn't do that stuff. But I remember we were playing at Schaumburg, um, and it was a chippy game. They were chippy, we were chippy. And he had to sit, and he was sitting in, and we needed him. And we went into overtime. And I remember Matt Maloney came down and saw how chippy it was. And he was like, hey, Dallas sat his punishment, his game. We're in overtime now, so you can put him in. And I was like, what? I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, put him in. He goes, screw these guys. All this stuff they're talking and how they're playing, put him in. So another kid on his jersey gave him his jersey number, put it on, and he came in and he dropped like 5 threes in like 2 minutes, and we won by like 15. And I was like, damn, is he good?
Yeah.
Man, it was. I'll never forget it. It was unbelievable.
I'm surprised the crowd didn't like go in the uproar after that.
Yeah,
Like, can you
yeah,
imagine that? Like you winning the whole game and then like
yeah.
this dude comes out
It
of
was like,
nowhere.
and it was like bam, and they weren't easy ones. It was like bam, bam, bam. I was like, damn.
Yeah,
So yeah, I always remember that.
definitely. Shout out to my guy Dallas, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
For you, coach, you are a hooper. You've been around the game a long, long time. For you, if you had to create an all-time five from Oak Park to play Blacktop, what five would you take with you?
Wow, from the high school?
Yeah. Or just Oak Park in general. They can be from Fenwick or,
You know I'm not
however.
picking. You know I'm not picking a fun like that. Yeah. Cool. I'll not. Well, I gotta pick Shump. I gotta pick Shumpert, no doubt. I gotta be honest with you. I'd probably take Phil right off his team too. Phil Gary.
Yeah.
Those two as a 1-2 combo are unbelievable. And then I'd have to go back a ways. My brother coached a kid, and I remember watching him play named Pierre Monaghan.
Mm.
Ended up going to Marist. He was, if not as good as anybody that's been through Oak Park. And then I'd probably throw it way back. There's a couple dudes that my brother like played with that I remember. A guy named Robbie Bruce, who was actually like a stud baseball player too. He was like a wingman, unbelievable defender. And then I loved Cordell Robinson, man. How Cordell Robinson played basketball. Obviously Robinson ribs, everyone knows that around here.
Yeah.
But man, could he ball? He could hoop, man. Holy cow!
Yeah. Oak Park has a lot of talent that has went through there. It's
Yeah,
crazy the
for sure,
history that they have.
for sure.
Oh, for you, coach, if you can sit down at a dinner table and you can pick five people, dead or alive, any, rapper, president, anything, who would be five people that you would love to sit down with and just talk about life, business, anything?
Wow. Um, I mean, Michael Jordan.
Definitely.
Uh, anything that dude touches turns into greatness. Whether it's a businessman or just basketball, and just I don't know, he's a stud. He's the man.
Yeah.
Uh, Bill Belichick.
Mm.
Uh, his brain just operates different than other people.
Yeah.
Um, com, there's a I love Sebastian Maniscalco. Uh, he would bring some comedy to me, man. He makes me laugh just by standing there. Um, Man, like like you got to pick on something like different from every kind of topic. So like, I'd love to talk to like a Tupac Shakur, Dr. Dre, somebody who's like a mogul in terms of like business and in
Yeah.
that world of music. Something that I'm awful at. Like I can't even like tap on a table and make it make sounds that sound right. And those dudes make beats or rap out of anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's kind of it. I mean, if I had to pick one more, I love Mike Tyson, man. I'd like to
Yeah.
talk to 18-year-old Mike Tyson as opposed to the Mike Tyson now. But he's a little loony and a little off the deep end sometimes. But
Yeah.
uh, I love him. I reference him all the time, man. He was when he was 18 to 20.
Yeah. Special.
Yeah.
Special. Um, for you, Coach, what has been the best piece of advice somebody's ever gave you before that you kind of still use today?
Um, I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could pinpoint like one like quote or like
Hmm. Yeah.
three coaches that whenever I would, if I ever talk to a group of people, which is usually like the first, people talk at clinics and stuff, and Al Allen has taught me so much between playing for him. I coach football with Al Allen, and he's just as good of a football coach as he is basketball coach. He's taught me so much. I coach with a guy named Bob Organ, who's the head coach at Morton for football. He got me into coaching, and again, like his ability to relate to players and making an atmosphere that like players want to be was special. And then I played for a guy at Whitewater named Steve Dinkle, and just his like work ethic. Like seeing him, he was Division III football is different from D1. He was a middle school health teacher. So he would drive from the high school or drive from the middle school, get to college practice, park on the field. Like it was just, he worked harder than anybody. So like I couldn't pinpoint like a quote or a saying, but like those guys have showed me like certain things, each of them that I use and think about all the time.
Definitely. Okay. And then the last one I have for you, Coach, is, who would you like to see on this platform that can kind of tell their story, to the youth or anybody that may tune in that can kind of help them in life?
Sure. Yeah. The two coaches I respect most that I coach with at some point, still coach with, and I'm friends with. Paul Collins, the wrestling coach at the high school, he's the head wrestling coach, is above and beyond one of the greatest coaches that this community should be blessed to have. He'd be unbelievable. He gives an unbelievable perspective, just like I do, of a community guy. Also, being able to coach nationally ranked kids every year, win state championships. He's unbelievable. And then, shameless plug, our head football coach, John Herster,
Yeah.
solely has turned our school into a community in a school that is a football school and
Definitely.
has the ability to do that. And when I say single-handedly, he obviously has assistant coaches, but he did it. It's
Yeah.
because he's here. So those two guys are phenomenal.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll definitely reach out to him and hopefully I can get him on here one day.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, for
Definitely.
sure.
Well, Coach, man, I want to say thank you, for coming on. I really
Yeah,
appreciate you.
absolutely. Are you
Thank
kidding?
you. Thank you for everything. And for those who
Yeah.
don't know, I have to tell this story because I laugh about it today.
Oh, oh no.
Sophomore year, obviously, I played for you. We had a crazy team. I think I'm gonna say by far probably the best team you ever had is our sophomore year team,
It
where it
was
was
pretty
me.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll never forget. It was we were at practice one day. We were getting ready for the season, and like I said, we had a great team, great team. And I remember you came up to me and was like, "Dude, you're ineligible," and I was like, "Oh." And then so I did that or whatever. Then you came back again. It was like, dude, what the fuck, man? And I was like, I'm eligible again. You was like, yeah. And I was like, oh. And then I remember I got eligible for the third time, 3 weeks in a row. And I just remember I just went to the end of the bench, and I was like, oh my God, I'll never forget that when you told me 3 times I was ineligible, and I was like, all right, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. But man, I just want to say thank you, Coach. Man, I appreciate you a lot.
Yeah,
Take care. Tell the family I said hello, and you guys take care,
absolutely.
Coach.
Hey, likewise too. Likewise, and sorry to hear about your dad, man. That
Oh, thank you, Coach.
always with you, man. That's tough.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I'll talk to
Absolutely.
you, Coach. You have a good night.
All right, buddy.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me on.
All right. No problem. Bye bye.